Somebody somewhere else is feeling what you're feeling, and somebody somewhere else has felt that way before. It can be easy to believe that you're the only one who's dealing with this, but someone else has had to deal with it for sure. So if you're sad, suffering in silence, or the loneliness has left you feeling low, remember someone somewhere else understands just how you feel, and sometimes it's somewhat comforting to know. Whatto folks, Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire here with song number 42 of my Song a Week project. This one is just a gentle reminder to people that they're not on their own with anything they're feeling. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling miserable, if you're feeling angry, scared, worried about anything, you're not the only person feeling those things. There's always someone else out there who's felt those things as well. That's not to undermine kind of people's feelings, and I wouldn't want to do that with this song at all. But it's just a gentle reminder that reaching out is really important for people, particularly in the trying times that we're living in. Just knowing that there's other people in the same position as you and feeling the same way as you about things is quite comforting sometimes, and means that you're more likely to reach out to people because people can empathise with how you're feeling, and actually speaking to somebody about it can sometimes really help with the problem. I know I've had that in the past, and you worry that the thing you're experiencing is completely unique to you. And although it might be to some extent, actually the key parts of it are not necessarily. And so other people will be able to understand and empathise. So yes, that's what this song's about. Just making sure that people are reaching out and speaking to other people, and sharing problems, and letting people know when they need help, I think is very important, particularly at the moment. I played this on my trusty Flight Soprano Ukulele, details of which can be found in the description below the video, along with my Sontronics Corona microphone, which I use in all my videos. Again, details of that can be found in the description below as well. So I've had a great reaction to last week's video, which was called What the Fuck is Going On, or WTF is Going On. Lots of good responses to that, exactly the kind of things I was expecting. If you remember last week, I suggested in my comments bingo, which I do every week, where I try and guess the kind of things that people are going to be saying in the comments. Lots of people giving me some examples of their own experiences of of not knowing what the fuck is going on. Lots of people applying it to the current political situations, both here and abroad. So yes, some interesting comments there. In terms of comments bingo for this one, potentially people might share some of the issues they're having and the stresses they're facing at the moment. But I feel like I'm worried that with this one that people are thinking I'm undermining individual problems that people are having. And that's not what I'm trying to do at all with it. It's more kind of reassuring people that they're not alone in their feelings about certain things. But yes, so potentially for comments next week, I'm going to see lots of people kind of sharing the stresses or kind of experiences of reaching out to people, where it's helped them. That'd be lovely to see. My own example of this is doing a lot of stuff online and doing a lot of these videos online. It can be quite lonely because there's not a huge number of people who do this. Not that I know anyway. I mean, there's lots of people that do it, but there's not really a network of people that I can communicate with about it. However, people like Tom Carradine, Scott Dunican do a certain amount of this, and chatting to them about the stresses of doing that can be really reassuring sometimes, particularly doing the music stuff as well. Just being reassured by other people's experiences, chatting backstage and that kind of thing, rather than hiding the stresses and worrying that they're all individual to me. Other people are always feeling them, and so that's it's really good to know that, and it really helps to know that. So as I mentioned, I've had some great comments for last week's video, What the Fuck is Going On? Lots of people talking about their experiences of this in the workplace. Rhubarb Gin says, the 3 stages of imposter syndrome. Oh no, I'm a fraud. hell yeah, I'm not a fraud, and what the fuck, everyone is a fraud. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You step into these things thinking you're a complete imposter and that you shouldn't be in spaces, and then you realise that everybody else feels the same way. Which kind of relates back to this video and this song, is that other people feel like that as well. And then the nice thing about this is that actually I get to see everybody sharing how they feel about certain things as well. So that's really quite reassuring a lot of the time. Sergeant Boucherie says, the important thing is to look like you understand the situation and know what you're doing. If you end up getting paid more because of that, learn to delegate and to give vague answers and advice with confidence. That's what it's about though, isn't it? That's absolutely what it's about. It's about looking like you know what you're doing and answering things confidently. Even when we're in hugely complex situations that don't have simple answers. People trust people with simple answers, which is probably one of the reasons why we're in the predicament we are at the moment. James Wright 4322 says, Thomas, I was going to ask you what the fuck is going on. Certain that you would have an answer for me, but alas, here I am left here still having to figure it all out for myself. Question, could you give us a detailed tour of the instruments hanging on the wall behind you? Where you got them, any sentimental significance, etc., etc. I can indeed. So I'm probably just going to point them out while I'm sat here. This one here that I'm pointing at, that is my first banjolele. That's a Barnes & Mullins banjolele. That's the first one I bought because I thought it looked a little bit smarter than a ukulele. For the first bunch of gigs that I ever did, I played on that. It's actually got a broken pickup on it where I attached a pickup and it didn't come off properly. And that is actually the one that I recorded I've No More Fucks to Give with. That is the one that I used in the No More Fucks to Give video, but it doesn't have a pickup on it where I can just plug in a cable. I have to attach one to it, which is why I bought the one that I now currently have. However, I keep hold of it. It has sentimental value, that one. And so it stays up on the wall. This one here is actually a banjolin, which is a cross between a banjo and a mandolin, which I've never played because I don't play the mandolin at all, but it just looked amazing. I found it in a shop on the Isle of Wight and had to buy it because it looked so nice. I had intentions of restringing it and getting it sorted out, but actually I don't know. I may just leave it on the wall. This here is an acoustic guitar I picked up when I was doing my teaching postgraduate teaching qualification down in Brighton, and I used to do sing-along sessions with my drama students in that, and so I actually wrote a bunch of songs using that guitar for a student production of Blood Wedding by Lorca, where I had to kind of write sort of kind of Southern Spanish style songs. I couldn't really do that. So we just had a bunch of songs in there. But actually, yeah, so I wrote songs for a play with that one back in 2007, I think that was. And then finally, and this is where it all began really, this is my first ukulele. And the story behind that is my partner was out shopping. She'd spent quite a bit of money in town, felt guilty about it. So she decided she'd pop into the music shop just round the corner and buy me something from in there, ask them what she could get for about 30 quid. And they suggested this to her. And so I learned a couple of songs on that. And that was actually the ukulele that I used for the first ever performances I did in public, back when I was still doing 20s, 30s, 40s songs at Headner's vintage nightclub in Milton Keynes, where I started out hosting. So yeah, that's got a lot of sentimental value, that one. My first ukulele, the one I learned the basics on, basically. I have lots of other instruments which aren't hanging on the wall. Perhaps I'll do a video about all of them that kind of encompasses all of the instruments that I do have. But that's the ones on the back wall. So thanks for that question. That was a really good one. Country Covers Official asks, my question for you is, how many of your songs do you feel like you make up as you go along until something just clicks and it works? The simple answer to that is all of them. They all start off as some random little tune I get in my head, or a line of lyric. Or quite often I'll write the lyrics first and then have to piddle around with the tune for a little while to work out a tune. And I always worry that my tunes sound exactly the same. They all sound too similar because I write things in a very similar way. So sometimes I'll start off with the line, like the make it taking the dog on holiday one started off with me just whistling a little tune about taking the dog on holiday, and that turned into a bigger song. So some of them start like that. Quite a lot of them just start with some lyrics that I've written because I'm feeling it when I'm lying in bed at night or when I'm out. Sometimes a tune will come into my head and it will start off as a whistle track. I've got various tracks on my phone that are just of me walking along the street whistling a tune to remember later. And then I have to work it out on the ukulele, and that's when they start to form properly. So essentially it is all making it up as I go along. It just gets kind of more clearer and more clearer as I go. By the time that I'm actually performing it in a video, it's hopefully got to a point where it's a bit more coherent. But yeah, there is a lot of making it up as I go along for that. Elarani 1714 says, that's the beautiful thing about community, though each of us only know maybe 2 to 3% of what's going on, but by working together we know enough to generally keep things from going all to hell. That's a really good way of looking at it, actually. Nobody knows fully what's going on, but they know the little bit about it, and enough for working together for us all to actually get through it. I like that way of looking at it. Sundancer GE says, WTF, 3 little words, so much meaning. Yeah, absolutely. Question you want, question you'll receive. How do you keep crumbs and biscuits and crackers out of your fancy beard? Carry on. Well, I've actually got a rather nice beard brush, which is around here somewhere. I'm just going to find it quickly. So this is my beard brush. As you can see, it's got Ursula from The Little Mermaid on it. I got this in, well, Sarah got it in Disneyland Paris, and it was a hairbrush until I realised how amazing it is for brushing my great big bushy beard. And I brush with that pretty much every day to neaten myself up. And it takes all the crumbs and bits and pieces out of it. I also wash every day with beard wash to stop it from itching. So yeah, there is a beard care routine that happens there. So thanks for your questions and comments, folks. Do keep them coming. It always makes it much more interesting if I've got questions to answer and comments to respond to in these videos. So do keep them coming. It'd be lovely to see your thoughts on this last song. A reminder of all the shows that I've got coming up over the next few weeks. On Saturday the 8th of February, I'm going to be in Folkestone for the first time at the Old Cigar and Olive. That's a free show, so get down there quickly if you want to come along to that one. It'd be lovely to see you there. On Saturday the 22nd of February, I'm going to be down in Devizes at the Wharf Theatre with my band, The Fancy Chaps. That should be great fun. Never been to Devizes before. Have been to Wiltshire, but not Devizes, so that should be really nice. Tickets are selling quite quickly for that one, so do get in there. That's likely to sell out, I think, before the 22nd. Then on the Saturday the 1st of March, I'm going to be in London again at the Two Bridges pub, which is just down the road from London Bridge station, with Aubrey Blakeledge. Now, I have played here before a couple of years ago. It's going to be really nice going back, and it's a free show as well this time. So if you're in the London area, London Bridge, head on down there. It's going to be a great night. If you're interested in seeing these videos before everybody else and actually getting MP3 downloads of all of the songs that I'm playing as well, you can join me on Patreon for as little as £3 a month, where you'll get access to other exclusive bits and pieces as well, like live streams, Zoom chats and that kind of thing. Follow the link in the description. Similarly, if you're interested in getting hold of a Flight Banjolele or a Sontronics microphone, there is a link in the description for that as well, along with all of the details of all of the shows I've got coming up in 2025. That's about it from me for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, stay safe and toodle pip.